Hello, my name is Eric. I am a father of two kids, Marcus, who is 7, and Lucy, who is 5. They all love things Marvel Comics related. But this one day, my kids were scared by this extended edition of Spider-Man from 2002. One day, I was in my room with my wife Annie while watching TV. I was watching The Simpsons when my kids came storming into my room screaming, "Dad, the new Spider-Man film is out. Can we go see it, please?" I said okay, and I told them that we would go see after school on May 7th, 2002. Tuesday came. I got out of work at 2:30, picked up my kids from school. The school they go to is called Thunder Elementary School. We drove down to the Regal Tall First 10 in Bonnie Lake, Washington. Before the movie, I asked my kids if they wanted a Happy Meal from McDonald's. I sat down at McDonald's for my kids. After lunch, we walked down to the theater and purchased free tickets for Spider-Man. Right before we entered the theater, we saw Stan Lee sitting near the door. He asked, "Are you fellows seeing Spider-Man?" I said yes. He replied by saying, "Well, you will not like this version." I ignored his evidence and went to the theater. Our theater number was Theater 1. I was surprised because we were the only ones in the theater. The previews that were shown were Lilo and Stitch, Stuart Little 2, the Powerpuff Girls movie, Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, Jonah, a VeggieTales movie, and The Country Bears. The previews ended and the film started normally, despite the fact that I saw the movie before my kids did. The film started with Peter Parker running to catch his bus, but the bus obviously speeds up. The next scene cuts to where Peter Parker meets with Harry Osborn's father. I asked my kids to wait in the theater while I went to the bathroom. When I finished my phone call in the bathroom, I heard a scream coming out of the theater I was in. My heart sank down when I heard that. But how the heck would I hear screaming all the way through a simple bathroom? I quickly rushed back to the theater and asked my kids what was wrong. Lucy pointed to the screen, and I felt my heart sink to rock bottom. It was a horrifying glimpse of Mary Jane Watson screaming. Her eyes had dark hollow holes. In the background, I could desperately hear My Nutmeg Fantasy by Macy Gray and reverse in the background. I told my kids to calm down, telling them it was just an image. And I cut to the scene where Peter is visiting the graveyard. He spots Norman Osborn dressed as a Green Goblin. Peter Parker pulls a pocket knife and stabs his eye socket. My kids were screaming and crying as he was doing that. I tried to calm my kids down and to tell them that it's just a film. When I got to the scene where Spider-Man fights the Green Goblin on the bridge, Spider-Man takes off his mask and screams so loud I nearly covered my ears, and so did my children. We quickly ran to the exit of the theater and we saw Stan Lee again, but I told him that he was right about this scary edition of Spider-Man. We came home from the theater and I asked Sony about who created that alternate version of Spider-Man. 2 days later, I got an email from Columbia Pictures which said this: "Dear Eric Templeton, we are so sorry about what you saw in theaters. The alternate version you watched was created by Edward Fanning. He was a suicidal man that had no choice but to create an alternate version of Spider-Man. Back in June 30th, 2000, our script was finally done, but Stan Lee accidentally told us that Edward Fanning made the script for the missing film. I hope your kids are okay from this nightmare. In 2001, Marvel didn't appreciate the alternate version, but Edward Fanning said that if they don't appreciate this version, he would fire us. So then, we released it on purpose. I am sorry that your kids were so scared by this. Best wishes, Marvel Comics." I'm glad this nightmare is over. I didn't get nightmares, only my kids to have a nightmare where Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson came to Lucy's bedroom, just laughing, and Marcus had a nightmare where Green Goblin shot him with a pumpkin bomb. The nightmare has ended, for now, but it will still occur later in the future.